Hey everybody, how's it going? Aaron Rift here from NoDQ.com to give you my thoughts on WWE Roadblock, the last show before WrestleMania, a WWE Network special. My thoughts on the show: I think that it was a solid 2.5 hours of entertainment, and here's how I see it. If your expectations were low going in and you were not expecting anything beyond a televised house show, then you were probably satisfied with Roadblock. If you tuned in hoping that this would be like a major WWE pay-per-view, then you were probably disappointed. It was very similar to the WWE MSG special. Although I will say that the main event, Triple H versus Dean Ambrose, was a really good match and definitely above your average house show match or even above your average Raw match. It was definitely a quality match. But I'll get to more on Triple H and Dean Ambrose in a few minutes here. Let's run down this card and go over the matches. First off, the WWE Tag Team title match. The New Day defending against King Barrett, Wade Barrett, whatever he's called now, and Sheamus. New Day came out at the beginning and did a funny promo. They revealed their Booty-O's cereal box, and I guess they're being sold on WWEshop.com now, although there's no cereal. I guess you buy the box and you get a t-shirt inside. I want the cereal, damn it. But anyways, this was a funny promo from the New Day, and it was a fun opener match. Typical house show match. I mean, it was entertaining. You had Xavier getting involved, although the New Day were essentially faces in this match. They were getting the big crowd reactions from the fans, and the crowd was booing the League of Nations, of course. New Day were basically baby faces in this match, even though Xavier was out there and he ended up playing a role in the finish of the match. But this was a fun match. This was an exciting match. New Day retained, of course. Then you had Chris Jericho coming out for a promo, and Jericho was great here. Jericho was doing everything in his power to get the fans in Toronto to boo him. He was talking about Canada stinking and Canada being the anus. I mean, he was really doing everything in his power to get the fans to hate his guts. His opponent was Jack Swagger, which I thought was a really bizarre choice. If you're trying to get Chris Jericho over as a heel, why have him against a guy who was a proud American like Jack Swagger? I mean, I knew that Jack Swagger was going to get booed, and I know WWE felt the same way. That's why they had Jericho go out there and do this promo. And Jericho was terrific, but it really wasn't enough. I mean, the crowd did not want to cheer for Jack Swagger, and as a result, I feel the heat during the match was not what it should have been. I think that was due to the fact that fans just did not want to cheer for Jack Swagger. I mean, they were chanting for Jericho mostly, even though he did that heel promo. So it was a weird choice to have Jack Swagger as Jericho's opponent. Not sure what WWE was thinking with that one. And the fans even started a CM Punk chant at one point. Jericho won the match. He tapped out Swagger. And then as he was leaving the ring, he grabbed a Get Well Brett sign and ripped it up, and I thought that was great. That's an old school heel tactic. I know some people out there were offended by it, but come on now. This is something that heels have been doing for years, and I highly doubt that Brett was bothered by that. I mean, it's just what heels do, and Jericho's trying to get heel heat. So I think people were making a bigger deal out of it than they needed to. If you're offended, then Jericho's doing his job well. I'll just leave it at that. Next up, we had the NXT match, which I thought was awesome. You had Enzo and Cass against the Revival, and I thought it was a really strong match. The crowd was red hot for this match. I mean, this might have been the most heated match on the entire show. And, you know, the funny thing is, after watching this Roadblock show, I'm more excited for NXT TakeOver Dallas than I am for WrestleMania. I mean, this was really well done, and all four guys can be on the main roster now. I mean, they really tore it up, and the only negative for me was the commentary. You know, I wish MR was out there doing the commentary for this show, but, you know, it is what it is. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." The Revival retained their tag titles, so one has to wonder if Enzo and Cass will finally be debuting on the main roster after WrestleMania. I guess time will tell. The fact that they did not win the tag team titles here, maybe that will be the case. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, this was perhaps the highlight of the entire show. Next up, you had Natalya versus Charlotte. Natalya dedicated the match to Bret Hart before in a backstage promo. I thought that this was a very good women's match. My main issue was that there was no build for this. They just threw it together. You know, they knew they were coming to Toronto. Why couldn't they have done something on television? Maybe dedicate 1 or 2 episodes of Raw, even an episode of SmackDown, anything to set up this match and generate some more heat for it. The crowd did react well to it, but it wasn't really until the end, until they got really hot, when Natalya put on the sharpshooter. The crowd just went completely unglued. And then you had Ric Flair grabbing Charlotte and trying to help her reach the ropes. And for some reason, Natalya was able to get Charlotte back in the middle of the ring, but then she just let go of the hold. So that, I was confused. That was a confusing finish. Natalya did not have to break the hold, but she did. And then, of course, Charlotte rolls her up and puts her feet on the ropes and gets the win. So Charlotte retains heading into WrestleMania. No surprise there. Next up was one of the biggest disappointments of the show, a classic bait and switch. You had Bray Wyatt come out for his match with Brock Lesnar. He had Luke Harper with him. And Bray basically said he made a deal with the devil. So as a result, it was going to be him and Luke Harper in a handicap match against Brock Lesnar. So apparently the devil is booking WWE television. Or maybe Bray was referring to Vince. I don't know. But anyways, Brock came out and it was essentially Brock Lesnar versus Luke Harper. In fact, I don't even think Bray did anything the entire match physically. I'm not sure what the deal is, if Bray is hurt or if WWE just didn't want to have Bray do the job to Brock. I mean, it could have been either of those. But regardless of the case, it's disappointing when WWE advertises a big match for the show and then they do an entirely different match. It was essentially a squash. I mean, Luke did get a little bit of offense early, but then it turned into Suplex City. And I will say, Luke Harper was taking those suplexes like a pro. He was bumping like a madman for Brock. So, you know, this was fun to watch as usual. Brock Lesnar just manhandling people. You know, that's never boring. But I will say I am disappointed that they did not do the Lesnar versus Wyatt match. Brock won, of course. It was a short match. He left, and that was it. Then you had Sami Zayn versus Stardust. I do not believe that this match was announced in advance. It was just a match added to the card. And I was fine with Sami Zayn coming out there for a match, although I thought it was a fine match, but it really was any house show match you've ever seen. You know, it was very basic. And it wasn't particularly exciting, but it was solid work. So, you know, it is what it is. Sami Zayn won, of course. And then you had the main event, Triple H versus Dean Ambrose. A fairly long match. I think it went about 25 minutes to 30 minutes, somewhere around there. It was a very slow-paced, old-school match, you know, the kind of match that Triple H likes to work. And I thought it was very good. I definitely feel it was better than your average WWE match, whether it's on Raw or SmackDown. I mean, this was probably the one pay-per-view caliber match on the entire show. But it was the main event after all, so you would expect it to be better than average. And it was. It was a very good match, very well-worked match. The crowd did get restless a bit. They started chanting CM Punk again. But there were some fans that were getting angry about this, and they started booing the chants and trying to drown out the chants. And I noted on Twitter, I don't get it. I understand fans wanting to troll Vince McMahon by chanting CM Punk at him, but chanting CM Punk in this match just didn't make sense to me, and I don't get what it accomplishes. Moving on here, you know, this was a well-worked match, like I said. At one point, Triple H just nailed Dean Ambrose with a clothesline, and I think he asked Dean if he was okay at one point after hitting the clothesline. They brawled on the outside. The announce table was taken apart. They got back in the ring. Dean Ambrose put a figure 4 on to get a pop from the fans, and then he did a sharpshooter, similar to when Natalya did one with Charlotte. And then Dean hit the dirty deeds, and the ref counted 3. And for a split second, I'm like, what the hell? But swerve. Dean Ambrose had his foot under the rope, and the ref caught it after making the 3 count. So he voided the 3 count and said it did not count because Dean had the 1 foot under the bottom rope. So, you know, got the big tease, but Dean Ambrose got screwed out of the title. You know, fans thought for a moment he had it won, but it was not to be. Match continued. They brawled on the outside. Dean Ambrose went for an elbow drop with Triple H on the announce table, but Triple H moved out of the way. Triple H got back in the ring. Dean Ambrose almost got counted out, but he made it back in at 9, only to get immediately pedigreed by Triple H, and Triple H retains the title. So the finish was absolutely no surprise at all. Triple H beating Dean Ambrose clean. I fully expected it. So can I say I'm disappointed? Not really. But, you know, it would have been nice to have some kind of swerve or something unexpected happen. But like I said, it was a solid effort. And the show as a whole, I felt was an entertaining 2.5 hours. Could it have been better? Yes, it could have lived up to its name perhaps a little bit more, being titled Roadblock and them teasing how this was going to put a wrench in WrestleMania plans. And at the end of the day, it really did not do that. So it was essentially just a show to hold fans over until WrestleMania. So depending on your perspective, some people are going to love the show, some people are going to hate the show, depending on what your expectations were. That'll wrap it up for my thoughts, and as you can see, the beard lives on, at least until WrestleMania. We'll see what happens if WWE shakes things up at the biggest show of the year. I'll definitely have stipulations with the beard on the line. I'm thinking about if Triple H retains the title at WrestleMania, I will shave off the beard, but I haven't made an official commitment on that yet. That'll wrap it up for this video. Let me know what you thought about it. Leave a comment on youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding WrestleMania. And I will see you guys next time.